Hey folks, and welcome to another video of mine. In today's video, we're going to be doing a television comparison between three different TVs from three different budget range. Now, there have been a lot of televisions which have been recently launched in the Indian market. With the Realme 4K TVs, which were just launched, it has come at a very competitive budget. And that's why we thought that we should compare it with some of the models which are in the market already, which are very popular and which happen to belong to the mid-range budget. So we're going to be comparing the Realme 4K TV with the Motorola ZX Pro, which is a very popular model, and we are also going to compare it with the Samsung Crystal 4K Pro televisions. And let's see what each of these TVs have to offer and which one really is worth your money. So let's get started and find out, folks. Now, the first thing that we're going to be talking about, which is perhaps the most important thing in a television, is going to be the type of panel that comes in each of these televisions, along with the lighting technology. Let's start with the Realme 4K TV. Now, the Realme 4K TV comes along with a VA panel. So it's basically an 8-bit panel plus FRC, which is able to dish out over 1.07 billion colors. And it's a standard VA panel with a direct backlighting. So this is a direct LED when it comes to the lighting. And when it comes to the Motorola ZX Pro, well, this gets interesting because the Motorola ZX Pro has three models in this range, which is a 43, 50, and then a 55-inch. Now, what's interesting with the Motorola ZX Pro is that their 50-inch model comes along with a VA panel, but their 43 and their 55-inch models come along with an IPS panel. However, all three models are basically edge lit. So when it comes to their lighting, it is an edge lit lighting. So it's an IPS panel with edge lit lighting for your 43 and 55-inch, and the 50-inch is a VA panel with edge lit lighting. And we finally move over to the Samsung Crystal 4K Pro. Now, the Samsung Crystal 4K Pro comes along with four different screen sizes. That's 43, 50, 55, and it goes all the way up to 65 inches. And we see that it comes along with a VA panel and a VA panel which is directly lit. So it's a direct LED when it comes to the lighting technology. By the way, I did forget to mention that the Realme 4K TV comes along in only two sizes, which is 43 and 50 inches. So that's as far as the panel and the lighting technology goes. Let's move over to the brightness levels now. Now, this is the part where I say that the Realme TV really does not stand a chance against the Motorola ZX Pro, because the brightness levels on the Realme 4K TV, it's really low. Now, they have clearly mentioned when they were presenting the Realme 4K TV that the brightness levels in terms of the nits of brightness is only 280 nits. Now, is that a problem? Generally in a television, it's not a problem because 280 nits is good enough. But when it comes to HDR content, yes, it's definitely not going to be as good as a television screen which has more brightness. Now, to truly enjoy Dolby Vision content or HDR 10 plus content, you need a panel which is at least 350 nits. I've mentioned this in my previous videos as well. I will say it again. You need a bare minimum of 350 nits to enjoy HDR content, and sadly enough, the Realme TV falls short in the brightness category. So it only comes with 280 nits of brightness. The panel is bright enough to view, but you won't really be able to enjoy HDR content. And if you are keeping your television in a brightly lit room, then I would say it's better perhaps to stay away from the Realme 4K TV because it's not going to be as good as what you can get with the Motorola ZX Pro. Now, speaking of the Motorola ZX Pro, let's talk about the brightness levels. Now, because of the fact that it comes along with different TV sizes, the different TV sizes have different brightness levels. Let's start with the brightness levels of the base model, which is the 43-inch. I've made notes so that I don't make any mistakes. So The 43-inch comes along with your 350 nits of brightness, and as it goes higher, which is moving over to the 55-inch. So again, 350 nits of brightness is available on the 43 and the 50-inch model, whereas there is 400 nits of brightness on the 55-inch model. So in terms of your brightness levels, Motorola ZX Pro has got you covered. Now, when it comes to the Samsung, there are no recorded, you could say, information available where it actually speaks about the brightness levels of the television. So it kind of made me wonder, why is Samsung not speaking about it? There's definitely something shady about that. I did try to reach out to Samsung customer care as well. I tried to reach out to their sales team and try to inquire about it. Sadly, I could not get an answer. They did respond back by saying that it is a VA panel and it is a direct LED, but they could not answer what the level of brightness was in their television. Now that is odd, but given the history of Samsung televisions, I believe the peak brightness, or the nits of brightness, is going to range between the 300 to 380 nits when it comes to the 43 inches. The higher it goes, of course, I think the brightness levels are going to increase with the Samsung TVs as well. Samsungs have historically had great panels, so I am expecting the colors to be vibrant, irrespective of having just 3 to 380 nits. But again, like I told you, if you've got 350 nits of brightness, that's good enough to enjoy your HDR content. So although we don't have a confirmation on the amount of brightness, I'm guessing that it's between the 300 to 380 nits, and that I believe is sufficient enough for you to enjoy HDR content. So out of these three TVs, if it has to be a decision based on brightness and brightness alone, then I would perhaps side with the Motorola ZX Pro, because they have transparent information on their brightness levels when it comes to all their respective models, the 43, 50 and the 55 inches. This round goes to the Motorola ZX Pro. Oh, and did I mention that all these TVs have a 60 Hz refresh rate? So that means you'll be able to enjoy 60 FPS if you're gaming, because all these TVs do have 60 Hz. The next point that I actually wanted to talk about was micro dimming, and sadly, there is no micro dimming available on any of these TVs. Now that is surprising, because even with the price of the Samsung Crystal 4K Pro, I kind of was expecting micro or local dimming to be available, but there is no local or micro dimming available on any of these televisions. So let's move over to the next point. Alright, so now let's quickly move over to the processor that is being used on each of these, along with the RAM and the storage. I'm going to talk about all these three together because there is a relevance, you could say, of bringing all of them together. Now, the first thing is the processor. Now, your Realme 4K TV and your Motorola ZX Pro both come with a quad-core processor, which is the MediaTek's CA53, and they both come with 2 GB of RAM. And apart from that, the Samsung has their own processor, which is the Crystal processor, as they would like to call it. So the processor is different on your Samsung TV, but it also comes along with 2 GB of RAM. Now, when it comes to the internal storage, your Realme 4K TV comes along with 16 gigs of internal storage. Your Motorola ZX Pro comes along with 32 gigs of internal storage, and your Samsung, surprisingly, being the most expensive, comes only with 8 gigabytes of internal storage. But having said that, is 8 gigabytes actually going to be a problem? Well, in simple terms, no. Reason why I'm saying that is because your Android operating system, as it is more demanding when it comes to the RAM. Your Tizen operating system has been optimized to make the most out of, even 8 GB. So when it comes to your day-to-day navigation of the television, you're not going to be having any problems. Trust me, because I've actually used the Samsung TV myself, and I've navigated, the interface. It's very smooth. Even with the 8 gigabytes of RAM, you will not find any lags, you could say, because it is optimized to take advantage of that 8 gigabytes. So the Tizen OS, which is the next point, by the way, is different to the Android operating systems which are available on your Motorola and on your Realme 4K TV. Yes, and I would like to club all these things together, which is the processor, the RAM, internal storage, and even the operating systems, because they all have some kind of relationship with one another. Now, 2 gigs and 16 gigabytes of RAM, internal storage is enough on your Realme 4K TV, but the Motorola ZX Pro really takes it to another level, because what it also wants you all to do is perhaps to game on your Motorola TV. So they even include a controller a gaming controller, Bluetooth gaming controller. So you can take advantage of the additional RAM, the 32 gigabytes of RAM which is available. And in case you want to do some Android light gaming on your Motorola ZX Pro, well, you can take advantage of that RAM. You can take advantage of that Bluetooth controller, the game controller, and you can enjoy games. When it comes to your Samsung television, because of the fact that it's got Tizen OS and not Android operating system, first of all, you don't have as many apps available on the Tizen OS. Well, you have your usual suspects. Of course, any television which comes out today definitely has your Netflix, your Prime Video, so Disney Plus, Hotstar. It's got you covered, so all good there. But when it comes to gaming, of course, it's not going to be as dynamic as your Android televisions, because there are a lot of titles which are available on Android operating system and on Android's Play Store. So if it's games that you want to enjoy, the Motorola ZX Pro clearly takes this round in terms of the internal storage, in terms of the gamepad which you get along with the TV, and the Android operating system, of course, which is Android 10, by the way. So it comes with the latest Android 10, and even your Realme 4K TV comes along with Android 10. And your Tizen OS, if you are not somebody who's or if you are somebody who's not into gaming on Android, you're going to enjoy your Tizen OS. It's a very clean user interface and very neat, very easy to navigate, and I'm sure you will appreciate that. Now, me personally, I anyways do not game on Android. So if I have to really game, I want to take advantage of my consoles like the PS4 Pro or your Xbox One. So if it's gaming that I want, I would go to these consoles. So Android gaming is not something that I really am fond of. Therefore, despite of the fact that the Motorola ZX Pro clearly has the advantage here, I would still kind of, like gaming on your Samsung television, and I have my reasons why, which I'm going to explain in the next section. So when it comes to your processor, RAM, storage, and your operating systems, it's a mixed bag here. There is no clear winner because it's not a black or a white. There's a lot of gray, and perhaps the next few sections that I'm going to talk about will give some clarity, you could say, to that gray area. So let's move forward and cover the next points, folks. Okay, now it's time for the HDR content, and the reason why I've actually set it out in such a way is because everybody, when it comes to buying a TV now, definitely looks for whether it's gonna support HDR or not. Well, we're living in 2021. It definitely should, because even mid-range budget televisions now are offering Dolby Vision in their televisions. Speaking of Dolby Vision and speaking of HDR, all these three televisions are capable of running HDR content. But when it comes to Dolby Vision, only two TVs on this list actually support Dolby Vision, which is your Realme 4K TV and your Motorola ZX Pro. Dolby Vision is not available on your Samsung Crystal 4K Pro. And what the Samsung Crystal 4K Pro comes along with is just HDR10 with support for HDR10 Plus. So it is capable of handling dynamic HDR. In case you're wondering what is dynamic HDR, well, I've made a whole video dedicated to the different types of HDR, dynamic, static, Dolby Vision, HDR10, HDR10 Plus. I'm not going to talk about it in detail, so I'm just going to put up a link here, and in case you want to check that out, you can check that out and know all about the different types of HDR that is available. So your Samsung TV has support for HDR10 Plus and HLG, whereas the only TVs in this list would be the Realme 4K TV and your Motorola ZX Pro, which comes along with Dolby Vision. But wait a minute. Now, we did speak about being able to enjoy HDR content if you have got very good brightness levels on your TV, and that's where your Realme 4K TV really falls short, because with 280 nits of peak brightness, you're not going to be able to enjoy HDR content. Well, it's going to look good in a dim or a darkly lit room, but if you are keeping your television in, you could say, a brightly lit room, then you're not going to be really enjoying your Dolby Vision or HDR content. It's not going to look bad, but it's not going to look as good as it's going to look on your Motorola ZX Pro, simply because of the fact, well, brightness levels. You've got the bare minimum of 350 nits on your 43 and 50-inch model, and on the 55-inch model, in fact, you've got 400 nits of peak brightness. So you definitely will be able to enjoy Dolby Vision content. When it comes to Dolby Vision being a technology that you need on the TV, the Motorola ZX Pro clearly takes this round, because it's got the brightness levels that are required and Dolby Vision. But hey, don't count Samsung TV out still, because like I said, it maxes out at somewhere between 380 nits of peak brightness, and it does support dynamic HDR, which is your HDR10 plus. So content is still gonna look great, but if you really are a person who wants that stamp of Dolby Vision, you could say, on your TV, then you're gonna miss that on the Samsung Crystal 4K Pro. For that, you have to go along with the Motorola ZX Pro. So again, Motorola ZX Pro basically takes this round. Now moving over from features which are related to picture quality, let's move over to the sound department now. Now everybody, when we buy TVs, these are the two most important things which are relevant to us when it comes to buying TVs. How good is the picture quality? How good is the sound? Now when it comes to the sound, your Realme 4K TV comes along with 24 watts of speakers. So irrespective of whether you're buying a 43-inch TV or the 50-inch TV, both have 24 watts of speakers, and they are gonna support Dolby Atmos. When it comes to Motorola ZX Pro, the Motorola ZX Pro 43-inch model comes along with your 24 watts of speakers, and your 50 and your 55-inch models come along with a better pair of speakers which are able to support around 50 watts of output, 50 watts of RMS output. And yes, it's gonna be supporting Dolby Atmos as well. So Motorola ZX Pro has got you covered there as well. And when it comes to Samsung now Samsung, irrespective of whichever model you are buying, whether it's 43, 50, 55 or 65, all these models are gonna come with only 20 watts of output. Not just that, it misses out on Dolby Atmos. What it offers, however, is something called Q Symphony, which is its own unique, you could say, sound system. If you pair it along with the speakers which actually support Q Symphony, you will be able to enjoy, this kind of a speaker output. But it clearly misses out on Dolby Atmos. It definitely supports Dolby Digital, but not Dolby Atmos. So when it comes to, again, having that stamp on your TV, some of us, we like that. When we are looking to buy a television, we kind of go through a list of things, and we check off all these things, which are available or not available on a TV. So if you're one of those who likes to have, a check against each of these features, like Dolby Vision, check, Dolby Atmos, check, well, then in that case, you're going to be disappointed with the Samsung TV. The Motorola ZX Pro, again, kind of takes this round, because hey, you've got 50 watts of RMS output with Dolby Atmos. So, and it's also got a dedicated speaker, which is located right below the television. So Motorola ZX Pro is the clear winner, even when it comes to the sound department. Now, I am gonna talk about Wi-Fi connectivity, but I'm not gonna talk about your ports. Well, most of these TVs, they come along with your HDMI-R compatibility. It comes along with your HDMI 2.0, and don't expect HDMI 2.1, because none of these TVs are really capable of dishing out 120 Hertz. So even if you do have the HDMI 2.1 on the Motorola ZX Pro, you really can't take advantage of that. There's no point of having HDMI 2.1. Of course, it helps with the latency, I agree, but you can't enjoy 120 Hertz simply because of the fact that it has HDMI 2.1. And again, Motorola ZX Pro is the only TV in this comparison that has HDMI 2.1 ports. And apart from that, when it comes to internet connectivity, all these televisions, they have dual band Wi-Fi. So you can rest assured that you will be able to enjoy both the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5.0 gigahertz of internet, and connectivity will not be an issue. You will be able to enjoy the 4K content that you want to consume on these TVs without any problems. So that's as far as ports go. It's a standard affair. It would be unfair to give somebody like this round, because hey, even with the 2.1, like I said, Motorola, you don't really get anything, because it's not a 120 Hertz panel, is it? So if you really, again, go back to that you could say thought process of checking off things in a list, then well, yes, Motorola ZX Pro takes this round as well, simply because of the fact that it does have HDMI 2.1. But again, it's not going to make much of a difference. So it's kind of a tie between all these models when it comes to ports and when it comes to the internet connectivity. All right, now I am going to be talking about a feature which I personally love, but there is a very polarizing kind of environment when it comes to this feature, because there are two camps, one which loves this feature, one which does not. Yes, I am talking about MEMC. Now, your Realme TV does not have this feature, so this feature is clearly missing on it. Your Motorola ZX Pro, well, it advertises as having MEMC, but I'm gonna get to this in a short bit. Your Samsung does not really advertise as having MEMC, but it has something called your motion accelerator, so it does have motion compensation going for it, which in other terms is nothing but MEMC. So in the expert settings, you can actually control the judder. So there's a setting which helps you control the judder, and it also has motion enhancement, which is nothing but your MEMC. So you at least have that option in the Samsung TV, and you are able to scroll through these options, turn the feature on or off, or change the setting, depending on how heavy do you want the setting to be. Do you want it to be at 5 or 8 or 10? You have complete control over it, is what I mean to say. When it comes to your Motorola ZX Pro, despite of the fact that it advertises as having MEMC, there is no feature or setting on your television where you can turn this on or off. So it's a very poor implementation of MEMC. And if you do try to reach out to Motorola and try to contact their customer support, they will give you an answer which is, well, useless, because they will say that it's an inbuilt feature. Well, MEMC does not work that way, all right? Consumers should have that option of being able to turn this feature on or off, because look at it this way. Remember, I spoke about the two camps. Movies generally are shot at 24 frames per second, and what MEMC does is it puts in extra frames in between, so that even 24 frames per second actually ends up looking like it's 60 frames per second content. Now, a lot of movie makers, a lot of movie lovers do not really like that. So if you don't like that, you can at least turn it on or off on your Samsung TV, but on your Motorola ZX Pro, there's no way of turning it on or off. So, hey, no marks to Motorola ZX Pro here, full marks to Samsung for being able to do that. And hey, when it comes to your Realme 4K TV, you don't even have the option. So there is no MEMC on your Realme 4K TV. Now, I know all these televisions, they're gonna talk about many things like it's got this engine, it's got that engine, like the Chroma Boost engine on your Realme TV. On the Samsung, it's got the crystal processing, going on, blah blah and all that. Don't fall into any of these tech jargons. When it comes to the picture quality on all these TVs, well, I would say it's quite good given the price range that it comes at, which brings me to the price that I'm gonna talk about next, and then I'm gonna round it all off and which TV should you buy for the money that you're spending. So let's finally bring it all together, folks. All right, now the most important thing for some of us, and I say for some of us because for some of us price is not a limiting factor. You don't really look at price when you're looking at buying TVs. And I think when it comes to buying TVs, TVs, like I've said this in my previous videos, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but hey, TVs are not something that you change every year or every 2 years, right? It's gonna be with you for at least 3 to 5 years. So in my personal opinion, I would rather have myself spending slightly more, but being able to enjoy more features, all right? So I would not mind doing that, but hey, there are different groups of people, and pricing is something which is very subjective, and it also depends on your situation, your monetary situation, which finally, brings me to the pricing. I know I'm talking a lot, but let's talk about the pricing finally. Your Realme 4K TV, well, the 43-inch model has a very competitive pricing going for it because it was launched at just 27,999. So it's 27,999. If I round it all off, 28,000. And your 50-inch model is priced at 39,999, which is again 40,000, you could say. Your Motorola ZX Pro, the 43-inch model is priced at 30,999. Moving forward, I'm just going to round it off. Well, the exact amount is going to be displayed on the screen, but I'm going to round off all the figures. It just becomes easier. Your 50-inch model is 38,000. Your 55-inch model is 42,000. Now, when it comes to Samsung Crystal 4K Pro, well, there are so many models, the 43, 50, 55, and 65. Well, the pricing on all these models, it's 39,000 for the 43, 52,000 for the 50-inch, 55,000 for the 55-inch, and 90,000, you could say, for the 65-inch. I just made notes so that I don't make any mistakes. What I do want to mention is on your Samsung Crystal 4K Pro, there is an offer where if you've got an HDFC card, you can actually get a 10% cash back. So whatever price I have mentioned, actually get 10% back. So for instance, if it's the 43-inch model, if it says 39,000, you're gonna save almost 4,000 on that. So technically it's gonna just be 35,000, you could say, with the 4,000 rupees discount. At that rate, if I have to choose between the Motorola ZX Pro and the Samsung, I personally will still go with the Samsung. Reason? Better network when it comes to service. Brand value is there. There are a lot of additional features on the Samsung Crystal 4K Pro where I've not even gone in this video so far. What are those features? Features like tap to connect to your TV. So all you got to do is just tap the TV with your mobile phone, all right, and you'll be able to cast onto your television by doing that. No pressing any buttons, no navigating into any settings and doing that. It's just a simple tap and just press one button and you're able to cast your mobile screen onto your Samsung. It's got features like that. It's also got an low latency mode, so gamers will enjoy it. It's got a PC mode, by the way, you'll be able to enjoy it. It's also got something called Samsung TV Plus, where it's got TV channels which are available to you for free. So the Samsung TV, for all it charges, in fact, it charges quite less, honestly. And the 43-inch model, if you're wanting to buy a 43-inch model, if price is a factor, then okay, go along with the Realme 4K TV, but look at all the things that you're missing out when it comes to the features. And I've used a Android TV OS, I've used an Apple TV OS, which is behind me, in fact, and I have also used your Tizen television OS. Well, I don't have a Tizen OS, but I've used it, what I mean to say. And when it comes to TVs, what I've realized is, apart from your Netflix, Hotstar or Prime Video, I don't end up doing anything else on my TV. If I have to really game, like I said, I go over to my PS4 Pro or on my Xbox One. So as far as your day-to-day navigation goes, your Tizen OS is good enough. And with all those additional features like tap to connect and your PC mode and your Samsung TV Plus, it does offer great value for money. So if you're tight on budget, go along with the Realme 4K TV. If you're willing to spend a little more when it comes to the 43-inch model, go along with the Samsung Crystal 4K Pro. Now, when it comes to the 50-inch model, it's a totally different ballgame altogether. Without a doubt, close your eyes, buy the Motorola ZX Pro because it's fantastic value for money, because it only comes at 38,000. That's it. Your Realme 4K TV comes at 40,000 for the 50-inch. Man, that's insane. It's not even a competitive pricing, and you're missing out on a lot of features or on something like the brightness levels, for instance, and the 50 watts sound output versus only the 24 watts on your Realme 4K TV. So when it comes to the 50-inch, the Motorola ZX Pro is the most value for money because it only comes at 38,000, and the 50-inch, when it comes to the Crystal 4K Pro Samsung, is 52,000. That's a huge price gap, as you can see. So when it comes to the 50-inch model, go along with the Motorola ZX Pro. Even though it comes along with a VA panel, it's a fantastic TV at that price. So now let's move over to the 55-inch model. Now when it comes to the 55-inch model, again, I would kind of side with the Samsung here, because like I said, television is not something that you change every year or every 2 years. You stay with it for at least 3 to 5 years. I don't mind spending an additional 8 to 10,000 rupees and going along with the television, which offers me more features and it offers me a better service network. So I do prefer to go along with Samsung in case of a 55-inch. And when it comes to 65-inch, the Realme and the Motorola don't even have a 65-inch. So the only thing to do in case you want to buy a 65-inch in this comparison, and I'm again mentioning in this comparison because there are a lot of other 65-inch TV models that you can actually purchase which offer great value for money, like the View Action TV is a great 65-inch television that you can buy with 70,000 rupees. Very good deal. But in this comparison, Samsung is the only option. Go along with it. Comes along with great features. Now, again, in terms of your price to value ratio, I think the Motorola ZX Pro does a very good job when it comes to the 50-inch model. But when it comes to anything apart from that, like the 43-inch or the 55-inch or the 65-inch, personally, I would still go with Samsung. And why, irrespective of you giving so many rounds to the Motorola ZX Pro, why I have had this 180 or 360 degree turnaround It's because of the service network, it's because of the brand reliability, it's because of all those additional features like the tap to connect, easy use of interface. There's a PC mode which I have not even spoken about on the Samsung AUE70. There are 3 different Google assistants or assistants that you can actually use: Bixby, Alexa, and Google. So you can use 3 different voice assistants on your Samsung TV. If you've got a smart speaker lying around in your house, then you can actually easily pair it up and have a hands-free experience. You don't even need to use your remote control, and you can control your Samsung TV completely, all right, through your voice. So it's features like that. It's gonna give you that extra oomph and that satisfactory feeling that yes, I've spent an additional 5,000 to 6,000, but hey, I got so many features in return. Some of it might be gimmicky, I don't deny that, but hey, at the end of the day, you are gonna stay with that television for the next 3 to 5 years, like I said. And if you want an Android operating system on your Samsung television, if that is missing, you've got Android TV boxes lying around like the Mi TV box, or even if you want another operating system like the Fire TV OS, just get those TV boxes or TV sticks and connect it to your Samsung TV. So in terms of the 43 or the 55 or the 65, I'm going to side with the Samsung in this case, and I have mentioned those reasons as to why I'm siding with the Samsung television in this case. And if you do want me to highlight more on these features, do let me know in the comment box. You never know, maybe I get myself a Samsung television and actually talk about it in one of my future videos. Well, it all depends on how you are commenting and how you're letting me know whether you want me to actually do that. So feel free to comment, reach out to me and speak about these televisions. And also don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and hit that bell icon in case you want to get notified with all my latest videos. It definitely helps with the YouTube algorithm, so please hit that like and subscribe button. And that's a wrap for this one, folks. This is me signing off. Take care, stay safe, and may God bless you all.